Here we go, the last trailer of Godzilla Minus One, and oh my goodness, there is a lot to unpack here. One thing I can say is, I'm deeply jealous of the Japanese right now. Not for their high-tech rises or work ethics, but yeah, cause they are gonna see the movie today, and for the entire month before any of us do. So anyway, let's make do with the time that has been given to us, like Gandalf always said. Let's get to it. The trailer opens in the high seas with a couple of patrol boats inspecting the wreckage of a ship, probably destroyed by Godzilla. The ship seems to be a large auxiliary ship and not a battleship due to the lack of guns or weaponry on its hull. It looks to be deeply mangled and torn, not bearing the markings of any naval battle or explosion. The towers and parts of the upper hull are bent down and broken with signs of claw marks and also blood splatter. I'm guessing this would be after the formation of the task force sent to search and study the aquatic organism as warned by Douglas MacArthur in a letter to the Prime Minister of Japan. It is evident that the ship has been damaged beyond repair, but it isn't sunk yet. It is merely dead in the water. And deep in their minds, they know it's the work of Godzilla, but exclaims in shock as to what did this to a large vessel. Then the scene immediately shifts to one that was seen before, of Godzilla swimming beneath a battleship, a foreboding and a telling sign of the one responsible for the carnage. Then the trailer says this December, meaning this footage is meant for the entire world, at least the countries where Godzilla Minus One is confirmed to be showed in: the US, Canada, UK, Germany, Italy, Spain and others. And then we get a scene of one of the Japanese leaders addressing a newly formed committee to rebuild the nation amidst the defeat they suffered after the Second World War. It goes on to show the rubble and destruction caused by World War II after 1945. But then this shifts to say a new reign, and then Godzilla's foot stomping the ground, a shot that we have seen before. This tells us two things, side by side. Japan facing a new challenge in rebuilding their country and being under Allied occupation, signifying a new reign by the Allies after World War II, and at the same time, foreshadowing the coming of Godzilla and his new reign of terror. Then immediately we see different shots and also slightly extended scenes of Godzilla in Tokyo. More specifically, Godzilla comes ashore in the eastern Tokyo region, the Tokyo Bay, and then goes on to destroy a train at the Shinagawa railway station, the large station serving the southern Tokyo region and Yokohama. All I can say is that Tokyo is doing a good job in showcasing the post-war era with the attire and clothing, the correct architecture as well as everything in theme with that time period. All for $15 million, $15 million. Hollywood, take note please. In the background we can see train compartments and cars being thrown about as if Godzilla was kicking Legos in a room. Imagine the shock and fear these people are feeling at that time, unaware of any living creature that size. And for unknown reason they have to bear the wrath of something they have no idea of, like a curse after a curse. We then get to see the actress Minami Hamabe acting as Noriko Oishi in the movie, in a state of shock in seeing Godzilla walking towards the building she is in. It's the same sequence that she exclaimed, "Is that Gojira?" in an earlier trailer, showing that she at least was working for the government, and there is a circulation or a rumor being spread about Godzilla coming inland. But I think the government was trying to hide this from the public, and somehow understandably so. The Japanese were just getting out of the war, and their morale is zero. And if the ones they elect were to tell them about something they themselves cannot stop or explain, that would create fear and panic, leading to unrest and revolution. Then okay, enough about the politics. The next scenes show bits and pieces of people interactions, tying down the story to the human elements that we can all relate to, otherwise it'll just be like KOTM. Good monster fights but bad quality character development. The trailer touches on many aspects of the show. Really, immediately after that we see an extended scene of Godzilla biting on a train like the iconic 1954 shot. And in the train compartment there was a woman stuck there, trying to hold on for dear life. She won't probably make it. That train will not be put down gently on the ground. It'll be tossed away and she would be crushed along with it. Tragic. This scene really grounds us to the horrific reality of a Godzilla that hates humanity, and there is no frickin' hope for the ones who are in his path of rampage. A true horror for the people unfortunate enough to be there, and a great and terrifying ordeal for any of the survivors. As they said in previous statements, this movie will be a tragedy, a horror, and also an action-filled piece. We then are shown to the same shots we saw in the earlier TV spot, Godzilla roaring against a mushroom cloud of his own making, or an atom bomb explosion is yet to be ascertained, but this will probably be connected to the last scenes of this trailer, which we will explain. Okay, skipping the already seen parts of Godzilla's carnage in Tokyo, we come to the ocean battle scene where Godzilla is chasing after a patrol boat, which can be tied to the first scenes of the trailer, of them discovering a destroyed naval vessel and then probably being chased by Godzilla. He is also confronted by a group of destroyers and frigates, which are smaller than battleships, but nevertheless, talking about weapons, they're still packing alright. So the patrol boat is being chased, and in order to stop Godzilla from reaching them, they dropped a sea mine, which then promptly is exploded in contact with Godzilla, in a way surprising him and pausing his pursuit for a while. Fast forwarding a bit, we see that the patrol boat carrying Kenji Noda and the crew would be saved by the intervention of the Navy, at least the defense forces of Japan, their remnants of a navy. But sadly this won't be enough, as even with the massive guns, humanity's weapons cease to be of any effect to the G-Man. This, I think, will be connected to the atomic blast at sea, where the ship is destroyed by an atomic breath that has an atom bomb-like explosion on impact. So rewinding a bit between the naval scenes, we see Godzilla roaring near the clock tower in Tokyo, probably before reaching the metro line, but also maybe before reaching a capital or a government building. But this is shown to be in conjunction with battle tanks of the Japanese defense forces shooting their shots at the king of the monsters. These tanks are remnants of the Imperial Army. They are the Type 4 Cheeto medium tanks equipped with 75mm main guns, which are understandably so slightly enlarged in the movie for cinematic effects, let's say. Anyway, this won't do much to Godzilla. If the naval ship's guns double their sizes, and with more powerful shells can't do squat, what can they do? Anyway, now after that we come to the most interesting and most terrifying part of the trailer, the dorsal plates. So remember the last TV spot where we thought Godzilla would have an axe head on his tail, the God Axe, and then we kinda thought maybe this is something else entirely. Yeah, this is something else entirely. Godzilla here will have a new ability, or at least a new novel way to charge up his nuclear cells in order to fire an atomic breath. Here the central dorsal plates, the central ones of Godzilla, will emerge out of his armored skin layer. Well, at least for the ones in the tail part. They will come out in sequence like a goddamn horror scene before we get shocked by the poltergeist. So Godzilla here has these in his body, and by instinct he knows how to activate them before unleashing his deadly weapon, meaning that these dorsal plates must be out in order for him to fire his heat ray. The dorsal plates on the back, all of them will also increase in height, pop out a bit more, and then all of his back will be covered in an atomic blue glow reminiscent of the same color seen in GVK. But his breath will have an atomic explosion. Godzilla here can take his time doing this cause he has no other monsters to fight. And also it adds to the suspense as well as the cinematic thrill. So Godzilla Minus One, come fast, we can hardly wait. So if you like this video, then check this other one as well, and if you're more interested in other movie monsters and creatures, then check out our channel as well. We might just have things you haven't seen before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, fam.